greater spotlight on some of the details that you have to be good at, that Caitlin could cover up with her incredible skill, her range, the way she creates space.
All right, buckle up because today's story is a wild one. Stick around till the end for this. If you're new to the channel, hit like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Let's dive right in. No statement, no heads up, not even a tweet. Just her and one trusted face walking into Nike's private studio. Not her coach, not her agent, not her family. It was Sophie Cunningham standing beside Caitlin Clark. If you're enjoying this, drop a like and subscribe. Over 90% of you watching haven't yet, and it costs nothing but a second of your time. Already subscribed? Awesome. Thank you for the support. Now let's get back into it.
W really is, you know what I mean? And like, I get it to a certain extent, and like every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're going to treat them. But there's just more.
What came next wasn't just big news. It was raw, it was real, and nothing like the sport had ever seen before. A rookie giving away a slice of her $25 million deal, live for everyone to see, without even blinking. And just like that, the WNBA was never going to be the same. Smash that like button if you're watching a queen make her move while everyone else is still figuring out the basics. And hit subscribe, because Caitlin Clark isn't just changing the game. She's rewriting who holds the power in it. This story actually goes back further than you'd think. Nike had their eyes on her since her Iowa days.
In your career, you got to match up against other Nike hoopers. Do you have a favorite matchup?
You're gonna get me in trouble. Honestly, like, I'll just say D, because she's such an icon in our sport and has been in the game for so long. You know, getting to share the court with her was pretty fun, and you just see her competitive spirit, even though you're not on her team. Like, you can
resources Nike puts behind Caitlin Clark now that we're going to start getting some of her merchandise coming out, and fans are indeed excited. I miss my GOAT playing. Gonna go ham on this commercial. I thought it was a nice commercial myself. Where is her own shoe? We're waiting on that. We are waiting on that. Wow. Y'all must have a fever or something. Oh, what a great double play on words. What a great double.
The moment she dropped 40 points on national television, the higher-ups took notice. When she started packing arenas bigger than some NBA crowds, they knew they had to move fast. And once that $25 million deal got signed, the biggest in WNBA history, Nike figured the story was simple. Caitlin would be the face, the billboard, the one-woman show. But Caitlin had other plans. She never wanted to build this thing alone. A week before her big Nike commercial dropped, she made a quiet call. She asked Nike for something different. One golden box, sealed and secret. Inside sat a sneaker nobody had seen yet. White and gold, legacy stitched right into the tongue, and not just her initials on it. Sophie Cunningham's too. Nike pushed back at first. Signature deals just don't work that way. But Caitlin held firm. Her answer was simple. I didn't get here by myself, so I'm not standing up here by myself either. Nike gave in. On shoot day, cameras rolling, lights blazing, Caitlin opened that box, turned to Sophie, and said just 3 words. This one's ours. She split the spotlight straight down the middle. No WNBA star had ever pulled a move like that before. Sophie isn't the biggest name out there. She isn't the loudest voice either. But she's one of the toughest players in the league, someone who spent years grinding it out, taking hits, eating fouls, absorbing the trash talk, and never once backing down.
It's all right before, but this is a preseason game where Clark has had a manager, and yet you probably
one that doesn't include 10 other people. All right, now let's go show you something else. So the shoe goes on sale today, or was it today? It sold out in minutes. And I want to show you something right here. Just so you can, just a reminder, so you remember who the cash cow is, who the box office attraction is. You got to remember this. So remember, if you're not familiar, they have something called GOAT. GOAT is a secondhand market for sneakers. And this is their website. And if you see the shoes on here, It's right here. Caitlin Clark.
When Kate was
Caitlin
hurt,
Clark.
and our offense was clicking, but now we have to have a new offense when she's in there because she just brings that much to the game, and so we have to adjust. And I think all of us just want it now. We know what the potential of this team can be, but we can't think about that. You really have to take day to day, and stuff that worked here, we need to carry it over to tomorrow's game. We have a lot of games coming up, and I think like 7 days or whatnot, and so it's mentally making sure that we're.
Since she's entered the WNBA, I know she's made a cameo here. She's made a cameo there. She was featured as part of this rollout here, featured as part of this rollout there. But is this our first official Caitlin Clark solo commercial since she has joined the WNBA? And as well, WNBA ratings from this past week in non-Caitlin Clark games on NBA TV
Caitlin Clark
have
in
been
the Nike situation. Now we know Caitlin Clark got some shoes that is set to be released tomorrow. That is a PE Kobe Bryant shoe, bruh. Yes, Caitlin Clark got her own signature PEs with Kobe Bryant and Nike. Now, one thing about it is there's another shoe that is set.
And when Caitlin first stepped into the league, she didn't just get welcomed with open arms. She got criticism, cheap shots, and targeted hits from every direction. Sophie never left her side. When the veterans stayed quiet, Sophie spoke up. When it wasn't the popular thing to do, she still did it. She even took fines standing up for Caitlin, and that's something Caitlin never forgot. "She didn't have to fight for me," Caitlin once said, "but she did anyway. That's exactly the kind of person I want in my corner."
We can talk to Sophie Cunningham and she'll say, I'm trying to wrap her up, but I do think that's what she was intending. She got her hands up there. They deserve a flagrant foul, but all of this is stemming from what we saw.
Something happened behind the scenes that left basketball fans talking, and it had nothing to do with a game-winning shot. A golden box appeared, and at first, it looked like just another expensive gift. But the meaning behind it was far bigger than anyone expected. It wasn't simply a present. It was a message. A thank you, a public sign of loyalty and respect. Then, within hours, the footage began spreading online. Fans started asking questions. Social media exploded with reactions. Aya Wilson reportedly responded with a single emoji, while Angel Reese went live as the conversation continued to grow. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know what had really happened inside the Fever locker room. And when the story began to sink in, the reaction wasn't what many expected. There was silence. Then came emotion. The players weren't angry. They weren't offended. Instead, the moment appeared to motivate them. Because Caitlin Clark wasn't just giving someone a luxury gift. She was showing the people around her that success doesn't have to be a lonely journey. She was sending a message about loyalty, appreciation, and the importance of recognizing the people who stand beside you. And that is where this story becomes even more interesting. According to the story surrounding the Golden Box, Caitlin didn't simply keep the spotlight for herself. The gesture was connected to someone who had earned a special place in her circle, someone who had supported her and deserved to be recognized. That raised one major question. Who would Caitlin choose? The answer was Sophie. And suddenly, the Golden Box became much more than a luxury item. It became a symbol of trust, a symbol of friendship, and perhaps most importantly, a symbol of influence. Caitlin Clark has already changed the way people look at women's basketball. Her impact can be seen in packed arenas, massive attention, and the growing number of fans watching the WNBA. But moments like this show another side of her influence. She isn't only building her own name, she's creating space for others around her. And that is a powerful thing. The story also sparked conversation about what could come next. Some reports suggested that Nike could be exploring new ideas behind the scenes, including a possible legacy-focused concept connected to Caitlin. The idea is simple but powerful. Each year, Caitlin could potentially highlight a player who truly earned the recognition. Not simply a close friend, not just a teammate, but someone whose work, character, and impact deserve to be celebrated. Imagine that. One special box, one special name, one story every year. If something like that becomes reality, it would turn a simple brand partnership into something much bigger. It would create a tradition built around recognition and influence. And if Caitlin really is helping shape that vision, then we're watching something unusual develop right in front of us. This wouldn't just be another endorsement deal. It would be a legacy being built in real time. The first name connected to that golden recognition, Sophie. And whether you see this as a simple gesture or something much bigger, the message behind it is difficult to ignore. The WNBA is a competitive league. Players are constantly fighting for attention. Rivalries can become intense. Fans can be unforgiving. Media coverage can create pressure from every direction. New players often have to prove themselves before earning respect. That's simply part of professional sports. But Caitlin's actions offer a different perspective. Because when you rise, you don't have to leave everyone behind. Sometimes, the people who support you during your toughest moments are the same people you should remember when everything starts going your way. That's what makes this story so interesting. Caitlin Clark is already known for what she does on the court. The deep threes, the incredible passes, the confidence, the competitive edge. But a career isn't remembered only through statistics. Eventually, people start looking at something deeper. How did you treat the people around you? Who did you help? Who did you support? And when you finally reached the top, did you bring anyone else with you? Those questions become part of a player's legacy. And that's why moments away from the basketball court can sometimes become just as important as what happens during a game. A three-pointer might win a game. A championship might create history. But one meaningful action can change how people remember you. That is the bigger conversation surrounding Caitlin Clark right now. Her influence is no longer limited to points, assists, or wins. Her presence has become part of a much larger discussion about the future of women's basketball. And whether fans love her, criticize her, or debate her every move, it's becoming harder to ignore the impact she has created. The WNBA itself is changing rapidly. More people are watching. More fans are filling arenas. More young athletes are dreaming about playing professional basketball. And every new season brings another wave of attention to the league. Of course, Caitlin isn't responsible for all of that growth alone. The WNBA has been built by generations of talented players who fought for respect and helped create the platform that exists today. Legends came before her. Current stars continue to raise the level. And a new generation is now stepping into the spotlight. That's what makes this era so exciting. The competition is stronger. The rivalries are louder. The debates are bigger. And the attention surrounding the league continues to grow. But competition doesn't always have to mean tearing someone else down. Sometimes, the best players push each other forward. That's how sports evolve. One star raises the standard, another responds, and suddenly everyone has to become better. That is how a league grows. That is how a new generation becomes inspired. And that is why stories like this matter, even when they happen away from the court. At the same time, there is something important that every basketball fan should remember. Social media moves incredibly fast. A short clip can go viral in minutes. A rumor can become a headline before anyone checks the full story. And sometimes, details shared online are presented as facts even when they haven't been independently confirmed. So while the Golden Box story has created plenty of excitement and discussion, fans should always separate confirmed information from speculation. But even when we step away from the rumors, the bigger message still stands. Success means more when it creates an impact beyond yourself. The greatest athletes aren't remembered only for trophies. They're remembered for the people they inspired. They're remembered for the teammates they encouraged. They're remembered for the communities they helped. And they're remembered by the young players who watched them and thought, maybe I can do that too. That's the real power of sports. One player can inspire thousands. One moment can create a lifelong memory. And one decision can influence an entire generation. That's why Caitlin Clark's journey is so fascinating to follow. She's still at the beginning of her professional career, yet the conversation around her already feels much bigger than basketball. Every game brings another headline. Every performance creates another debate. Every major decision gets analyzed from every angle. But the most interesting part is that her story is still being written. There are going to be more rivalries, more big games, more pressure, more criticism, and, without a doubt, more unforgettable moments. The WNBA is entering a fascinating period, and fans are getting the chance to watch its next chapter unfold in real time. New stars are emerging. Established stars are fighting to remain on top. Young players are trying to prove they belong, and the entire league continues to evolve. That's what makes this moment so exciting. The future isn't predictable. Nobody knows exactly what the next major story will be. Maybe it will happen in a packed arena. Maybe it will come during a championship game. Or maybe, once again, It will happen far away from the spotlight, when one player decides to recognize another. And that's where the golden box story leaves us. Because the real value may never have been the box itself. It was the meaning behind it. It was about recognizing someone. It was about showing appreciation. And it was about reminding people that success becomes even more powerful when you use your position to lift others. That's a lesson that goes far beyond basketball. Caitlin Clark's story is still unfolding. And if this moment is any indication, there could be many more surprises waiting ahead. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Caitlin's gesture to Sophie represents something bigger than just a gift? Do you believe moments like this can help strengthen relationships between players and shape the culture of the WNBA? And if Caitlin were to choose another player for a future Golden Box recognition, who should be next? Drop your answer in the comments. And don't just leave one name. Tell us why you think that player deserves it. If you enjoyed this story, hit the like button because it helps more basketball fans discover the conversation. Subscribe for more WNBA stories, breaking developments, player moments, and the biggest discussions happening around women's basketball. And make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. Because Caitlin Clark's journey is far from over. The next chapter could be even bigger. And if the past is any indication, the most surprising moments may happen when nobody is expecting them. So stay tuned, keep watching, and keep the conversation going. Because this story isn't ending here. It's only getting started.